You see, World Bank takes our population, divide it into a small, our GDP, divide a small population into that, and therefore it gets high per capita income. And therefore we are regarded as a rich country. And therefore we don't get soft loan, we don't get grants and so on, because we are rich. So I've always been saying, you are right, but you know the history of that country. You know the distribution of resources. So all I'm saying, therefore, is that your theory may be correct to say you take the GDP, divide the small population into it, and get high per capita income. That's correct. But what is the reality? Then well, when a long time ago told me distribution.
It's inequitable and unjust that you have an international financial institution that would charge interest rates to members that borrows there, with the lowest rates going to the higher income, more industrialized nations, and the highest ones going to the poor countries. So much so that at the end of the day, especially when you are funding social programs, whose returns are not monetary and they are long term, you are drained after you have fully paid the loan. And that is why many of these countries failed to pay, and they ended up being hippie. And then they benefited from this debt relief only for them to default again. So really the World Bank, these institutions need to consider their pricing, their loans, pricing policies. I think that's important.
What you're saying is, so even if you have your income per capita at 5,000, what Your Excellency you're saying is Namibia is not a rich country, and so there should be some way for you to benefit from concessional.
No. You say per capita income is 5,000.
Yes.
But we don't talk about distribution. Karutura is poor, as you said, so that is for about 5% of them who are benefit, who are at that level.
I agree.
Yes.
So
and the countries that registers the high per capita income are not necessarily the richer countries compared to some of the countries that benefit based on lower interest rates. I think that's something that we can discuss in detail.
Okay,
and
maybe offline.
And you would know.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, okay, if you have countries, the majority of countries in Africa get grants, get support from either, which means they pay grants, they get grants, they don't pay at all, or they get zero interest rates, or they get a very small interest rate over 30, 50 years. Those are the either terms summarized broadly. And most of the countries in Africa get that, with the exception of South Africa, Namibia, Angola, Seychelles, and a few countries that are, as you said, upper middle income countries and so on. And Your Excellency is saying it doesn't take into account distribution, it doesn't take into account that you have high levels of poverty due to structural inequalities of the past. I take all that. We don't have a solution in that regard, but I think that what we have tried to do, as my colleague was saying, in the work that we're doing, the very little work that we're doing with you on the financial front, is to crowd in as much concessional money as we can.